Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Okay, I'm here. I even remembered to turn on my microphone, so we're off to just a great start. And my sister Susan got in just under the wire. So
I can't even tell you. I sat down in the chair.
All right, it's the same story.
5 to 9 with the phone in my hand.
Yeah,
It's
same
the same
story.
story.
I had to text her saying, hello.
And I called immediately because I was reading.
Yeah, well, she's got it. Anyway, here we are. Here we are. God help us. I just want to say that there's a guy on my roof and he's cleaning and there's lots of noise but every time I say that, people say I didn't hear anything. So just in case, okay.
So far, I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah, at least the dog who was barking nonstop at him has been removed from the premises. So that's all good. God Almighty. I just want to, because it's beyond belief. I have a list here of just things, our side of the political aisle was accused, not totally without reason, of engaging in a cancel culture, right? You say the wrong thing, the mob jumps on you. And there is some of that, no doubt about it. The policing of what is okay and what is not. But I have a list here, and because I give things titled, I put canceled. And it's stuff that the Trump crowd has done just in the last few days. I mean, they've taken cancel culture to to heights the lefties never imagined. The difference is what's being canceled. They're into canceling history. It's just astonishing. Cases in point. Arlington National Cemetery.
Yeah.
It's, how do you?
I mean, I'm trying to figure out what they did. I mean, they're removing references from the webpage. I mean, it's not like they can unbury these folks. What are they talking about?
Yeah, but they're they're lowering their profile because the internet is where people aren't necessarily going to Arlington, but this is where all the information is. And all the stuff that had highlighted the resting places of Black and female service members has been scrubbed. Now, I guess the insanity of I mean, why don't they just say it's not that it's against DEI, it's that only white men should
be recognized.
I mean, DEI is about, making sure that people that are not white men are not excluded from jobs that they are qualified for.
Automatically.
Yeah.
Just as they are now automatically being excluded precisely because of their color and or gender and or nationality, race.
It's how can, I mean, and of course it's leading to all these, these absurdities like, the Enola Gay, the plane that dropped the bomb being scrubbed. And
Howard Hughes' famous plane, yes.
No, I don't know. That wasn't his. That was
Enola Gay was, yeah, I think so.
no. His was the Spruce Goose. The Enola Gay was the
Oh, you're right. You're right.
dropped the
I
bomb on
confused.
Hiroshima.
Yeah,
Yeah, but because its name had gay in it,
it was named after the pilot's mother,
It-
Enola Gay.
it got scrubbed. So, yeah, so the Arlington National Cemetery website, and obviously these things are all these people that still have jobs, desperately trying to retain them by towing the line, and the line is remove any racial and female and gay and whatever. On their Arlington website, a part of their site that was dedicated to explaining segregation in the military and desegregation and civil rights is gone. And it's fascinating the things that they target. The Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, that's gone, because why would you mediate anything? You just use brute force. I guess it's gone because it's too feminine. Mediation.
Well, no, you aren't supposed to. It's not supposed to come out good for everyone. Someone's supposed to win, and someone is most definitely supposed to lose.
That's right.
And so that's not how mediation. That's not the point of mediation at all.
No, it's not. It is definitely not macho. And then there's something called the U.S. Interagency on Homelessness. That's now homeless itself. That's gone because, fuck those people. And of course, the Community Development Financial Fund, which provided financial assistance to struggling communities, that's gone. The Minority Business Development Agency, gone, because it has the word minority in it. Uneffing believable. Oh, and they're targeting Habitat for Humanity. You can't make it up. Now, Habitat for Humanity was, of course, Jimmy Carter's big charity. It's a Christian.
It's a not-for-profit.
It's a non-profit Christian charity that builds homes for people. What a terrible thing. It has been hit. Let me find it. You can't keep up. You cannot keep up with this stuff. I've got somewhere. I'm sorry. There's just so much stuff. They got attacked for getting grant money, and then someone in the Trump administration said that they had would be investigated for fraud, I guess, taking government money that didn't belong to them. I don't know. None of it makes any sense.
It doesn't need to. That's the point. The point is to sow the confusion that it's sowing and to break everything. And to make people feel powerless and unsure of what to do. And it's working brilliantly.
Yeah.
You see today they're scrambling to rehire a bunch of what were called the workers that were
probationary,
because probationary doesn't mean what they think it means.
What they think? They committed crimes and were on probation?
No. I mean, probationary might be someone that just had been with the Park Services for 20 years, had gotten a promotion and was now running the whole thing, but had been running the whole thing for less than 6 months, and by definition is therefore probationary, but is not a new, unproven employee. They were kicking out the best of their best, thinking that they were new hires, newbies.
Well, one thing is obvious.
They don't know what they're doing. They don't care.
Because they're just, it's like raping and pillaging. That's what they're doing.
Yes, that is what they're doing, and they're enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, what, and lest we think that if you're a white guy, you're immune. There's this Scottish guy or Irish guy that they detained and stripped naked and interrogated him, and he's got a green card.
They did that to a white guy?
They did it to a white guy. They've detained a Canadian white actress for crossing the border and trying to work, go to her job. She's been detained for 10 days.
Oh, Jesus God.
So I just want to tell all the white folks out there that think that they're safe, that old first they came for, then they came for. Well, it's happening really fast. They're coming for you already.
So, the code talkers, those Navajos that...
Who?
I guess we're not supposed to know about them anymore either.
We don't know about them.
The code talkers, without them, the war in the Pacific, well, I mean, people say we would never... I was the most masterful coding that had ever been done because the Navajo language had never been written down, and so only people who spoke it knew it, and they were all on our side. And the U.S. military would have been in terrible trouble without the code talkers. They have now disappeared. Where'd they disappear from? It's
any Veterans Affairs?
No, I can't even remember where, but it's insanity. And the Iwo Jima.
That just two less people holding the flag.
Well, actually, that begs a question. That has gotten. I mean, I'm confused by that because this is in the news. One of the guys was a Native American.
Yeah.
In that picture, and because of that, I guess the entire picture, considered iconic, is now gone. I mean, what? You can't make it up.
I don't understand in what world they think that this looks like an act of strength. That's what gets me. It's just all the people, all the groups that you're disappearing. Just know how terrified you must be of us. That the very thought of us is a threat.
Oh man!
How weak does one have to be that obvious about their weakness?
Well, that's the thing about bullies. That's the thing they don't get. And a lot of other people don't get it too. They do take the bully's actions as indicative of strength. You're being a little more nuanced in your thoughts.
Well, I'm just saying, when the two world leaders, Putin and Trump, sit down to divvy up the world, I mean, it's just time. It's just time that people start disappearing, and it shouldn't just be us.
What you've just noted, divvying up. That is literally what Donald Trump said the other day, that he and Putin today were going to be on the phone dividing up certain assets of Ukraine. Yeah. This is supposed to be, I mean, what?
And how does? At what point does Trump's? It's just it's the two of them. I mean, please.
Okay. Here's what I wanted to get in though before I forget. Back to the iconic picture.
Yes.
There's 6 guys in that picture.
Yes.
And the picture is incredible in many ways because of the how their bodies are. The I don't know how you need to be an art critic to say here, but the bodies all grasping that pole, and the fact that the flag is not yet up, and it's being, you can almost feel movement looking at the picture. But here's the thing. It's a pole with a flag on it. And all those bodies in that picture, really, one of the things about the picture is that it looks like they are straining.
Really struggling and straining to get that little pole on the flag in that hole, in that pound of dirt.
Yeah, I don't get that. And it doesn't take 6 men. That's all I want to say.
Are you suggesting that photo was staged?
Yeah. And people wanted to get in it. Well, sure. I understand that, but it's funny that it's, iconic, but it's also puzzling as a picture. What are they all pushing so hard? Was there a hurricane force wind? What the hell? Yeah.
Or was it a competition to see who could get their hand on the flag and stick it in first?
I don't, I just want to say that's something it's silly, but yeah. So yeah, the code talkers are out. Some of the Iwo Jima flag wavers are out. Women and blacks who are dead and buried in Arlington, they're out. And Habitat for Humanity is in the sights of the Justice Department for taking. It's an EPA grant. Who the hell knows? It makes 0 sense. And this is one that tickled me. The Justice Department is going after its own units that pursue fraud cases.
We can't have people looking at fraud, Lynn.
Because we're committing it.
Yes.
All the time.
That's why we got rid of the FAA, because it was just in Musk's way, and
that's why we're
getting rid of the security detail for everybody that we want somebody to plug.
Yeah. Well, what they're doing is
Hunter and his wife's detail.
Yeah, they're taking out the prosecutors inside the Justice Department that are in the public integrity division, because what the hell is public integrity anyway? Whoever even needs that?
That has to be 2 of the banned words, don't you think? Public and integrity.
Well, definitely, yeah. Integrity for sure. Also, the unit that goes after foreign corruption cases, toast. And of course, that's because the Trump and his buddies, grifting buddies, have got to. They're involved with foreign, deals left, right, and center. You can't be having, nosy prosecutors sniffing around. So yeah, taking out the fraud unit, since fraud is what they're all about. And this is in addition to last month Trump halting all investigations and all prosecutions of involving foreign countries under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. And his argument at the time was that it gets in the way of American competition. Because his idea of business is crooked. That's how he operates. He's a crook.
Right. An advantage can never be unfair.
No, it's a competition. And if you can't play dirty, then why are you even in the game?
Why? Then you actually have to know what you're doing. It's like how he wins his golf tournaments. I mean, how does he?
I know. There it is.
It's just everybody sits there laughing at him. Today I won another Mar-a-Lago golf championship. Oh, what a fun! They're going to honor me tonight. Oh sure.
Well, that shows the weakness to anybody. Anybody knows there's no way that fat blob of pork wins every year, except that it's his tournament and he always wins it. I just and because he's a kleptocrat, he's also ordered the shutdown of a Justice Department initiative to seize the assets of kleptocrats.
Right, give them back, poor guys.
Because what do you mean? Those are people who've stolen billions of dollars from their own countries. What's wrong with that? That's what he does. And how do I don't know. What people say is that the people who vote for him, they know all this stuff, but they don't find it a bad thing. Now,
well, I don't know that a lot of people let the information in. I don't.
Well, but there has to be you said it. They don't let the information in. That's
there's a voluntary. You're willfully ignorant.
Oh, by the way, the other thing we got, we just pulled out of, the Justice Department has told the Europeans that even though we signed on, we're getting out of the multinational group that had formed to hold Vladimir Putin personally accountable for the crimes he's committing against Ukraine.
Well, because Vlad's such a nice guy.
I know he's my best friend. I'm out of that. I don't care if we signed on to it. Yeah. Uneffin believable. And then, did you see what Musk put on Twitter the other day?
No, I confess, I do not.
Well, I didn't see it.
Musk.
I didn't see it. He put it up and then he took it down.
Oh no, I heard about this. He's trying to absolve Hitler and Mussolini and Stalin
and Mao of killing millions.
Mao from killing millions. Yeah.
But the kicker is the post said that Hitler and Mao and
Stalin, I think.
Stalin, yeah, did not cause the deaths of millions of their own people. The people who killed those people were public sector workers.
Oh, who were rogue? They weren't following.
I'm telling you, it's public sector. Federal workers in all of those countries are the ones that killed those millions upon millions of people? Stalin? He didn't know. Hitler? Who
He was
knew?
busy.
Mao? Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? And the thing is, see, he has over 200 million followers that, people who take this stuff
That
in.
swallow this. Yeah.
It's just unfriggin' believable. I don't know.
Well, there's a reason why there's a Holocaust museum, and everybody thinks, well, what do you need that for? Here's why you need it.
Well, wait for that to get canceled.
Yeah, it'll get canceled.
Hey, I just want to put in one thing. A Republican I always really liked, even though, his voting usually freaked me out. He was a conservative, but I just liked the guy, was Alan Simpson of
Yeah.
Wyoming.
Oh God, I loved that quote.
What was the quote?
It was his little joke. He goes, you know how you define politics, right?
Hmm.
And you say, well, he goes, well, poly is Greek for many, and ticks is blood-sucking little insects.
Many blood-sucking insects. Well, he was a regular guy, and
Yeah, he was.
He was a
true Republican conservative.
Yeah, and he was authentic, but he wasn't a mean man. That I just liked the guy. But there was a thing in his obit that just blew me away, and it is that when he was a kid, he was a Boy Scout during World War II, and in Wyoming, and in 1943, his troop went. Can you imagine this for a field trip? Went to visit the internment camp
of the
Japanese that was in Montana. All right, boys, and today we're gonna go see these.
Like they were caged animals.
I don't know, but there were 13,000 people in that camp, and he was a 12-year-old Boy Scout, and the Boy Scouts talked to some of the 12-year-old Japanese Americans that were there. So the kids that were incarcerated were talking to the kids from the Boy Scout troop. And Alan Simpson, 12-year-old Alan Simpson, ended up talking to a Japanese kid, his own age, and really liking him, named Norman Mineta. And damn if Norman Mineta did not end up in the United States Congress from California. And he and Simpson both recalled meeting as children.
Isn't that improbable and cool?
Isn't it? Isn't that amazing? He was, he was a long time. He was such a right winger. I mean, went to the mat for Clarence Thomas and Robert Bork. Went after Anita Hill. Well, so did Arlen Specter.
So did
Joe Biden. And yet he was a longtime supporter of gay rights and of same-sex marriage. And up until he left the Senate, he was wanting to amend the Constitution of the United States to overturn what he thought was the worst Supreme Court ruling ever. And I don't disagree. Citizens United.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
And it's Citizens United that told a billionaire like Elon Musk, you know what? Each one of those billions is like a word.
Is a voice.
It's a word. Yeah. And you have free speech rights. So you can literally buy elections because you got the words. You got the money. And if you want to start looking,
I'm going to go vote for Susan Crawford today.
Oh,
early.
good. That's such a huge election. Musk has poured unbelievable amounts of money in it. This is this Wisconsin Supreme Court election, which, believe me, the Republicans are watching very carefully, because this is really one of the first opportunities that a state that went to Trump can show displeasure by not voting for his candidate, even though Musk.
Well, I'm getting a ton of mail here. The doorbell has rung more than once, and always for her.
Yeah.
And it's been such a cute variety of young faces, representing all sorts of people that didn't used to live in Green Bay. It just makes me happy that people can't see that diversity and equity and inclusion enriches one's life and one's environment and one's worldview is amazing to me. It's Green Bay used to be a white Christian place with some Native Americans and 200 Jews, and now it's everybody. And everybody living together because of the way the housing stock in Green Bay is. Great big homes next to funny little bungalows.
I thought I saw somewhere that some poor woman in Milwaukee, I don't know if you've seen this, she's one of the Hmongs that are so now prevalent in Green Bay and as well. They came from Laos, I think, or Thailand.
Yeah. Cambodia, too.
Whatever. She has lived in Milwaukee all her life. Well, from the age of 6 months. And she was grabbed by ICE.
Oh, no.
And she's gone. She was shipped back to a country she'd never, she had no memory of, does not speak the language. She's gone. Gone.
But most of the Hmong are here quite legally.
Yeah, well, her mistake was she had an arrest.
Oh, so they're just throwing out whoever they want.
Chuck writes, I saw a 20-minute interview this morning with Chuck Schumer. If anyone is thinking our elected leadership will steer us back to normalcy, they need only watch that interview to see that Schumer's priorities are misplaced and he has no idea how to move forward. The last thing he should be doing right now is a tour of talk shows promoting his new book. I agree. And Pat reminds us that the other thing that's just been decimated is Voice of America. Because why would we? Voice of America was about attempting to spread
democracy.
Show democracy and show what a free press is like. Ha! Well, yeah, I
It's the first thing they've done that isn't dripping with hypocrisy.
she's uneffing believable. And Susan tells me, not you, Susan tells me something I did not know, which some of you may know, that outside of the Oval Office now, you won't be surprised, hangs a
Is a toll booth, a check writing station.
that one, now there, don't give them ideas, is a portrait of, a picture of Donald Trump.
Oh, his mugshot.
His mug shot is proudly displayed, which, see, his cohort loves this. But what it shows is we have a president who is a felon and who denigrates the law, who refuses to follow the law. And once that becomes something that people don't perceive as scandalous.
It's because he lives his life as a schlock movie. I mean, if it were a movie set, it would be, it would be a laugh line. In this satire of politics, and it would be like Peter Sellers playing Trump. You know what I mean? It's not. He's starring in his own show right now, and that's as unserious as it is. It's why he wants to take over the Kennedy honors and be the MC.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because he'd rather be doing television. That's why he says at the end of beating up Zelensky in public, "Isn't that great TV?" I mean, if we don't have to imagine what's going on in his head, it's right there for everybody to see.
Well, as he presided over a meeting of the board of the Kennedy Center yesterday, he said that he thinks Elvis Presley should be honored, and he was told, "Well, the center does not honor people posthumously, so that can't happen." And he refused to listen, and he said, "Elvis sells better as a dead man." That's the kind of, yeah, Elvis sells better as a dead man.
Well, and who thinks that Trump cares what any of them think?
Well,
or what the Kennedy used to do?
Yeah. We got to call.
I don't understand people even saying things like that to him.
Yeah. What? Well, no, we can't. That'd be they're posthumous. Rules don't apply. Somebody quoted some autocrat or somebody the other day, and it typifies the Trump administration, and it is everything for my friends, the law for my enemies. Caller, go ahead.
Again, I would hello Susan, hello Lynn. I will refrain from saying good morning because I don't know that we're going to have those for the foreseeable future. I did want to comment on a couple of points that you've both touched upon. One is that Chuck Schumer and the senior, and I mean that in both senses, Democratic leadership, they need to go. They need to step down or step aside. If you wonder why the popularity of the Democrats has just fallen, off the cliff, all we have to do is look at their behavior in the face of this administration. Kamala Harris only lost by about 2% of the vote. So it isn't that she was wildly unpopular or that the message was wildly unpopular. I think, unfortunately, 2 months was simply, a Herculean task of trying to put together an effective campaign. But the leadership and the messaging and their actions, are wild. They're wildly unpopular with Democrats and liberals, and obviously the Republicans loathe them.
Well, who gives a crap who they loathe? I listen. I think without a doubt, these guys are going to end up getting primaried in a lot of places by younger people. And I think the voters, the Democratic voters, given the choice, will put, and this is in a year and a half, will probably knock a lot of these folks out. And that's fine and dandy, just so it's a Democrat that replaces them.
Right. I was thinking about what I'm going to do when the time comes for John Fetterman's re-election campaign. And at this point, I'm just not, I don't know if the stroke affected him. I mean, obviously it affected him.
No, that's not what happened to him.
But I'm having a difficult time supporting his re-election. The other point that you and Susan touched upon that I want to pick up on is that, yes, I've had, I've attempted to have conversations online and in social media with Trump supporters. And even those who are semi-rational, because I have never had as many insulting, crass, crude, obscene, and flat out insane responses, often frankly incoherent and illiterate responses, as I have from anyone else on the other side of the political divide, as I have from MAGAs. But when you come across one that may be like semi-reasonable, they still have this mental block that comes down when you try to, when you're explaining all these verifiable, facts about Trump, about his history, his misdeeds, his criminal actions. And in the last one I had a conversation, an online conversation with, in the end, he couldn't actually defend any of what he was, trying to say. He couldn't say that Trump didn't commit these acts, that he didn't run a scam university, that he didn't tell all these outrageous lies about Barack Obama, that he didn't siphon money from his charity, that he didn't, attempt to steal the election. It all came down to, well, he won the election. He won the popular vote and the swing states.
So they say.
And my response is like, yeah, I recognize reality. You're correct. He won. But you can't refute a thing I said. But this mental wall comes down, when I point out that the United States is now being run by this dishonorable, mentally erratic crook.
Well, you know what? They don't care. He's their crook, and they like him.
And I'm going to tie one more thing together, if you'll let me.
Quickly, please.
And that's that. Yeah, and that's that. Democrats weren't even willing. They're not even willing now. Oh, I understand now. Okay, you want to move on, but they let the most outrageous calumnies and slanders go. All this, MAGA and Republican senators and reps and pundits constantly talking about how senile Joe Biden was, and he was just incoherent. Joe Biden didn't say anything absurd or insane while he was in office. He wasn't talking about annexing Canada. He wasn't rage tweeting on social media at 2 a.m. He wasn't with, of course, unnecessary quotations, unnecessary capitalizations, misspellings. He didn't say absolutely absurd things like that China paid us hundreds of billions in tariff money.
Okay.
He was an 81-year-old man who got mentally tired.
Point taken. And but you're howling into the wind along with a whole bunch of the rest of us.
I think it's pissing into the wind.
Is it? Well, I didn't think he was pissing into the wind.
Oh,
I heard a
sure tend
howl.
not to do that.
Yeah, howling. It doesn't come back as, unpleasantly as. Anyway, but thank you for your howl. It's
Well,
it's
I've been howling
shared.
about why Democrats seem to be, so many
Yeah.
of them just seem to be unwilling to take even
Yeah.
their own side for
Well,
like the past 20 years.
I know. Okay, thank you. And the howling goes on. Part of it is I saw somebody suggesting that these older Democrats had experience working within a Congress that functioned, where you could have friends on the other side of the aisle and join them, and there was an understanding that everybody behaved relatively in a certain manner, that the older folks remember that and somehow can't quite get their heads around that is simply not the reality anymore, and that their kind of decorous behavior, acting like things are as they were in many respects, uh, it it's just not what we need now. We need we need ferocious leadership, and Chuck Schumer doesn't fit the bill.
There isn't any leadership. I mean, if everybody is screaming, "What do we do? How do we?" and there's a chorus of answers, but there's no leader.
Well, but this is what happens when a party loses its way, which obviously the Democrats did. I mean, the voters put them in this position where they have no power.
Right.
And since we're operating in a system where people decide, then Democrats better figure out why they turned off so many people who used to vote for them. And there's no easy answer to that. There's a million different things that fed into it. There was a fascinating piece that was written about why Mexican Americans went more toward Trump than they ever have. And it seems like, what? How could a Mexican American vote for this guy? But Mexican Americans were, and it focused on Chicago, Susan. Mexican Americans were none too happy about how Venezuelan people were allowed into the country during Democratic administrations and given all kinds of help and a status that the Mexican Americans had never had. So they look at, it's funny. People, they think
and what did Trump do to reward them?
Yeah.
He just rounded up a ton of Venezuelans and threw them out.
That is correct. And there's a lot of Mexican Americans who are not unhappy about that. It's, it's bizarre, the kinds of things. So what they're so good at doing is dividing. So we tend to think that, well, all like South American immigrants will be appalled by the racism and the ugliness of, Trump calling their people murderers, rapists, and vermin and all this stuff. And no, because people don't see themselves it's a Mexican Americans very different experience in many ways. Not all of them, but enough of them. I don't know. And also, they get turned off. They tend to be Catholic. They tend to then not agree with Democrats on abortion, on a lot of the social issues. And, we just make these, they didn't even, on one thing they really didn't like is all of a sudden being told that what they were was Latinx, right?
Well, someone's always naming someone else, and it wasn't, people from, how many different countries that decided to put them all in one pot.
Yeah.
That wasn't their choice. That was the white world that did that.
That's right. Anyway, Ansel writes, "We are in extraordinary times. This calls for extraordinary measures. The Democrats can't save us from this fate. It's actually brave and courageous Republicans who have to step forward." Well, then we're fucked.
Well, of course.
Only a handful of Republican House members and senators are necessary to put a stop to much of this chaos. Well, only a handful is something we ain't going to get, Ansel. They're scared.
I've been saying for a while now, what we've got to do is make them more frightened of not doing the right thing than they are of doing the wrong thing.
We're not going to kill them. They're scared of literally being killed.
I understand exactly what I'm saying.
What?
Well, if I'm telling, I don't know when people are not going to figure out that we're in a war.
Well, what are you saying? We got to go kill some Republicans?
I'm saying that, we have no defense. If all Trump has to say is, "I'll kill you if you don't vote the right way," then, okay, you're right. We're all lost. So somebody tell me of something better then. Well, we have to be able to frighten them into doing the right thing as easily as he can frighten them into doing the wrong thing. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is, Lynn, but
it's not that. I'm sorry. I'm not built that way. I don't know. Anyway, Ansel goes on, says, also, and this is a good question, where are Obama, Clinton, and George Bush? Where's the Lincoln Project? Where are super PACs? Any money sitting in war chests for 2026 and 28 should be used now. Let's flood media with ads like it's campaign season, because it is campaign season. Maybe so. I admit, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
I don't either, but that is because we don't have a leader telling us exactly what to do. Getting us in a group and acting such that we are a force and that we are to be feared because of our mightiness. That is what happens. That's really how this game is played.
Well, you got James Carville suggesting it has to come from the people. It has to be grassroots on up. If there's no leaders, then we are the leaders we've been sitting around twiddling our thumbs waiting for. I mean, all of it. I don't know. I don't know if he's right. I don't know if, the bomb throwers are right. I frankly don't know. We've never been in a situation like this.
No.
And I don't know. And you do see the beginnings with the refusal to obey the
court orders,
the court order regarding those poor souls who were shipped off to El Salvador with no rights. Any of the rights that they, by the Constitution, were to be given. And then you've got, you know, when the judge, I mean, tells him you can't do this, and the I think it was the president of El Salvador, who's like Trump, when the judge said, no, you turn those planes around and come back, the president of El Salvador put on Twitter, oopsie, too late, with a laugh crying emoji. And then Elon Musk retweeted it. And then Secretary of State Marco Rubio shared it on his account. And then the border czar, this Homan son of a bitch, said on Fox News, we're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming. Okay, that is absolute denigration of refusal to. Once this kind of thing starts happening, then what do?
That's right. We are in a war. They have launched salvo after salvo. They have blown up institution after institution, and we're just looking at each other.
Well, I would argue we're in a state of shock.
Well, wake up.
Well, okay, I'm awake, but I don't know what to do. And I admit it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. Really?
Well, we have to figure out a way to organize and make ourselves heard and make ourselves mighty and fearsome. That would be the end goal, and that is the best we can do, because I, for one, think relying on the midterms is folly. Who says there's going to be midterms?
Well, the astronauts should be back.
I'm hoping. I've been waiting to hear.
Aren't they due back this morning?
I would think they aren't that far. They've only been to the moon.
No, not them. The ones Susan. Nobody's been on the
moon. Oh, the one on the space station.
Nobody's been on the moon.
That's right. We can't launch a rocket because Elon's keep blowing up.
Well, but it's Elon's thing. It's Elon's that's bringing him back, too.
I know.
Fucking believable. Unbelievable. All right, well, see, I mean, we Americans are now, we're part of a rogue superpower. The most powerful nation on earth has gone from usually siding with the good guys and the little guys, and now siding with the bad guys. And even as I speak, who knows, Trump and Putin could be laughing on the phone together and divvying up Ukraine, saying it's ceasefire talks. The whole ceasefire thing is bull, too. I mean, it is about stopping to carve up, to make Ukraine.
And to replenish.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Well, that's it, I guess. I don't know.
I'm going to go vote because at least for a while, state politics absolutely matters more than anything we can do on the federal level. So if you want to know what to do, shore up the defenses locally and statewide. That's what we're going to need.
Well, damn, Susan, I sure as hell hope that Wisconsin voters come through.
It's
Because
not looking real good, but
it
we're doing our
isn't.
best.
It
I
isn't.
don't think so. I don't know. I mean, the polls I'm reading, I don't, who knows what's true.
What are the polls saying?
That she's not leading, but I don't know if any of that is true. It could be, disinformation designed to, dampen the vote. We should be able to win by large numbers. The same population that sent the last one in is still out there, and with the same worries. So I can't believe that it isn't okay. That's why I don't know what to believe.
Well,
but
the
I'm
thing is
going
that
to vote.
the Republicans are more organized than they've been in the past, and they got all that Musk money behind them. I'm sure. I'm glad I'm not in Wisconsin and don't have to look at the ads. By the way, the judge on the Republican side here is frankly opposed to gay marriage. Doesn't think gays should be allowed to marry. When is the actual election? Is it in
April 1st?
It's April 1st?
Yep.
I don't like that. Who's going to get fooled? Well, you go vote. That's one.
Yeah. Well, that's two. Mother voted two.
Okay, that's two. All right, Suze. Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Cheer up, everybody.
She says
Life goes on.
Cheer up, she says, after telling you to go shoot somebody. All right. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know, guys. God help us. Enjoy your day.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.